Alright, so today's video, we're watching a Silver 3 tank on PC. We're going to see some Zarya, Sigma, Hog, and Ramattra. They say, I have been mainly playing tank because I have always loved feeling unkillable. Play tank for that? Although Overwatch doesn't exactly satisfy that right now. You know, that was a good one. I feel like I played pretty good this match, except for our first turn on defense. So just to... I understand this. You feel like you played good this match except for 1 point. I felt like I was getting rolled and didn't know who to play or how to stop their momentum. The other tank was also asking me for advice between, but I waited until the end to tell him that he needs to play corners more and not take so much poke because that's what I've heard a lot from you. I would really appreciate any feedback, especially on our first defense. Thank you. Listen, first of all, chat, if you're playing a ranked game and you're trying to climb and the other tank goes, hey, what tips do you have? You got to give them the opposite of those tips until the end of the game. Right? You gotta be like, oh yeah, you need a wide peek and take more poke damage. You gotta wait till you gotta get the dub, okay? Alright, Zarya to start on Route 66. Not my favorite hero to start on Route 66, but it's also in Silver where there's a little bit more hero variety to begin with. So I'm not too worried about it at the same time, right? So we'll see how it goes. Rhine is a little bit of a tough matchup for Zarya. Mainly because you lose a little bit of that value. But I mean, you know, maybe if they charge you up a little bit, you might be in a good spot. We'll see. Remember, you don't want to be, like, right next to Rhine, though. Don't give Rhine that full value. I'll see how it goes. Actually, they're not even paying attention to you. You know, I will say, and maybe a lot of the time when I'm playing ranked, players are just like, oh, go just run to their backline. And, you know, I'm starting to see more and more why players are telling me to do that when they're watching. Because that is what they're normally, like, this is what you're seeing in, like, a Silver game where, like, somebody is playing here, right? If I'm playing Route 66 on this map and, like, top 500, the Ana's, like, here, like, hugging this wall, and you can barely see them, right? So I can't make those type of plays, and I'll explain that, like, no, I just can't go for the backline. But if you see an Ana right there and their Rhine ignores you, yeah, why not, right? Heck it. You know what I mean? Like, why not at that point? Ryan's dead now. Good job recognizing they were low on getting healed up. You're good to go. Nice. Get the energy going. Bubble your teammate. Good play. Okay, go up in the high ground now. I'm watching. Good right clicks. Remember, as Zarya, it's super important to go for right clicks. You know, a lot of Zarya players can left click, you know, the other person in front of them. But if you get good at your right clicks, you become, like, way better at Zarya. Right clicks are so important to farming up ult charge. Like right there, I'd right click here, by the way. Because look how many are in front of you. You get like probably like 5-6% per right click, if not more. It doesn't mean you can't solo target somebody down, but in that situation, like you can get some really solid right clicks going. Why does no one take high ground? I mean, you know, some players just aren't comfortable using high ground, right? I put the idea of going high ground in there. I like the idea of making it a good habit. Just grab that if you want. Win the team fight. I know it doesn't seem like you have to. I mean, if you save it, it's fine, but I might have grabbed that. I'm always in the mindset of just win the team fight. I'll worry about it later. But I think a lot of players just aren't as comfortable taking the high ground. I just like to see people get in the habit of taking the high ground. If your whole team doesn't go up there with you, you can always drop down. You told them to stop idling on the cart, push forward. Actually, I have a slight counter argument to that. I actually love that idea, but I do think that when they play a Reinhardt, you get limited on, and I know they're on Zarya now, by the way, so it's a little bit past where they were, but when they were on Reinhardt, that push-up strategy gets a little bit less effective, especially on first point there. You can only, you can take certain parts of high ground, but then like at a certain point, the Reinhardt's going to prevent most of your play. Granted, they play it correctly. I know the Ryan wasn't playing it correctly. Now you're saying push forward here. Yeah, you could push forward here. I mean, like, ideally, if like your team is willing to go with you, go like top left here. Start here. You can always go around here, top right. They do have a TP up there, but yeah, I mean, you can. I think on second point here, especially with that on the Zarya, now you have a little bit more opportunity. Like, I certainly would push up. Yeah. You love the Zarya pact here. I shoot your bubbles and you shoot mine. Honestly, that's just a thing that Zaryas will do, 100%. Don't be afraid to get like a solo grab here if you want. I think that's okay. Actually, no. Yes and no. If they use TP, uh-oh. Careful of your bubbles. Oh, you're dead. Oh, wait, they might have saved you. Said, I'm able to make it on my stream because your advice helped me a lot by you watching others. Oh, hey, honestly, when I was at DreamHack Dallas, I had so many people say they love the Spectating series. Like, it put into perspective how much people have been loving this series and how much this series has been actually growing at that. Like, the ceiling of the videos and, like, the floor of the videos have gone up, like, quite a bit, which has been exciting to see because we've been doing the series for a while now, but I just feel like we're getting better games to watch and, like, they've been more entertaining, which has been nice. By the way, I need to get you in this mindset here. So... Here, I want to talk about this. You won the team fight, so players are going to be like, why the heck are you even worrying about this? I really do think it's okay to grab this. I think sometimes players will play it too safe, and I know that, like, it's going to look good that you saved your grab here, but I also look at it as, like, if you grab that, I am totally okay with you grabbing that because there's no guarantee you win these team fights, so take the win when you can get them. Like, just grab here. Win the team fight. And I know that, like, people are going to go, what do you mean? They saved their grab. I agree. And like, honestly, it's a fine play. I'm just saying, like, if you watch me play a ranked game, don't be surprised to see me grab that to guarantee the win. Now, granted, you know, every rank plays differently, so maybe in silver, retakes are a lot harder, right? We're like, so maybe that's why you don't do it, and it's going to be based off of the rank, but I'm just also saying, like, if you were thinking, do I grab here? It's okay if you did. So good play not grabbing, but at the same time, if your mindset's going, could I have grabbed that there? The answer is absolutely yes. And if you grab that there, unless it was like a 1v5, I wouldn't have said anything to that. Why is the tank not pushing up and taking space? It's just dependent. I mean, honestly, like, you can watch the stream. I do this all the time. That's because no one pushes the cart. You have to understand that. And honestly, it's back to, it's all hindsight again, but like, look at, they're back on Reinhardt. Pushing space, the only place you'd go is top left here, right? Like, you go top left, might not be a bad idea. Get some good flanks on, like, the top up here, but in hindsight, yeah, it's a harder push, I'd say. Good grab. Good grab. But, like, even then, do you see what happens when a Reinhardt's in front of the Zarya? Like, do you see that? Also... That's also why it's okay to right-click in those situations, because they actually don't have as much AoE healing in that spot because they're running the Life Weaver Mercy, so and if Mercy doesn't have Valk, your grab gets a little bit more value with the right-click because they can't really... If you single-target somebody, it actually plays into that. So that's, yeah, I was going to say, the right-click there would have been a good response to that, rather than what you did. That Reinhardt's making it easy on you. By the way, if that Reinhardt was playing that correctly, you wouldn't get any value right there. Bubble your team. To your left, your teammate. I know you survived this, but your teammate to the left was taking a lot of... You know what you're doing? You're doing a lot of things where you're getting away with a play that is like almost like a coin toss. And you want to eliminate as many coin toss possibilities as you can that go, and you want it to be more in your favor. And like, I see a lot of what you're doing is like, you should probably bubble them here, but your teammate survived. So because your teammate survived that, it seems fine, but in reality, sometimes that play won't work, and you want to minimize how much that play won't work. Also, right there, what happened was then you started to focus too much on peeling for your teammate that you turned around and forgot about their team, which ended up turning into you getting rolled. What do I mean by playing correctly on the Rein's part? Sure, I got you. If the Reinhardt charges into your team and doesn't put up their shield, the Zarya will get more value than if you just sit there and hold your shield and then hide around a corner. A lot of like the really good Reins now just kind of play this very annoying play style of doing absolutely nothing, and it can be really frustrating to play against. And Zarya is one of those heroes that can struggle against a Reinhardt, especially if the Reinhardt is playing that style. And that Reinhardt basically just charged in, didn't put their shield up once, and got shredded by a Zarya. Reinhardt is a pretty good matchup against Zarya, believe it or not, even at fully charged. For the dynamic of that, let's go. That's good, Toothy. I mean, that'll take time. I mean, there's going to be, like, moments of that, so. What weapon charm is that? I want to say that... Oh, I know what... Is that from the Moira one? The Moira season? I can't remember. It feels like that'd be the Moira season. Or maybe that... No. That wasn't the Moira season. Excuse me. That was from the Junker Queen season. Yes. Junker Queen season. Which was what, season 2? I can't remember. Season 3? I don't remember what season it was. Wait for it.
Tactical visor activated.
This ends now.
Playing too safe now, by the way. Listen, I was okay with your positioning when they did the sim wall. But like when your teammates are trying to make plays, like that bubble right there could be make or break. So you ended up just playing that too safe and hiding. There's a difference between good positioning and then like being in that good position for there's a difference between good positioning, which was where you started off, and then not doing anything with that position and after. And you started off with solid position, then just stood there. So while I tell you not to take as much poke damage, you're not going to take much poke damage at that angle, right? So you can be a little bit more aggro. And Zarya is one of the few heroes, believe it or not. And we'll start to get more into this with our Spectating series as we go. I'm okay with that grab. I mean, it's not my favorite grab, but I'm just glad you're hitting the button. Maybe that's a bad way to look at it. Like we've set the bar as, oh, you at least hit your button to grab somebody, so I'm happy. Doesn't mean it was the best grab. I'm just glad you're trying to be proactive. But good to see more right clicks too. Don't be afraid to get those right clicks in. That was just an unlucky charge on you. Who was better against Zarya, Rein or Sigma? Reinhardt, by far. I want to point something out here, because I think there's going to be a little bit of discussion on that, where people are like, what do you mean, Reinhardt? If you ever try to go up to a Zarya and like not doing damage to the Zarya as Rein, does not mean that Rein is bad against Zarya, because you're preventing Zarya from getting value. And that's the important part. You don't need to 1v1 the Zarya. I mean, you don't have to try to 1v1 the Zarya damage-wise. You just need to prevent the Zarya from getting value. And that alone is already the value in itself. Sometimes people forget that with Rein. Which is also why, going back to what I was just saying about Reinhardt players that I see in top 500 that do really well, believe it or not, a lot of these Rein players go like 12-4. And the rest of the team will be like 23-2. Now, is that a fun play style for Rein? Probably not. Anytime your tank is going to be in the situation where your games are just 12-4, probably not the most fun experience for that tank. But if you want to win against that Zarya, you're still getting that value. And that value is what will be the most important there. And I think sometimes players hard focus on just like if you're the tank that you have to 1v1 the other tank. When in reality, it's going to be different based off of the map, based off of what they're playing, based off of what you're playing. And yeah, by the way, great idea here on the push. I would turn around and see if anybody got shattered on your team. You don't want to give them any free picks. You did get the bubble off, so I was happy with that. A little bit late, but I like the idea. I mean, you made the correct call on that one. Well, a lot of the Ryans go like really safe on that one, so with their play style. Be careful here. Bastion is good against Zarya, but you're fine. Not a bad play by you, I will say. And you had mentioned my advice about like minimizing poke damage. You're doing a good job of understanding the concept of that. Now I want you to fine tune that, which means you can take a little bit of damage and be a little bit more aggressive when it's starting to go in favor of your team. You get what I'm saying? So while you're applying some of that knowledge, which is good, I also want you to start to kind of find where you can get more value while also applying that knowledge. So the first step is there. You're getting a basic understanding of it. The next step is finding the value in between that. And I think, you know, like that third point when you hid for so long, that wasn't as ideal, and you might have lost a minute on third point because you just sat there doing nothing. Find a little bit more value. Anyway, on to Sigma now. I actually love Sigma on first point Route 66. Just a fun hero to play here. They have a Venture now. By the way, is Venture enabled and ranked yet again? Or is Venture still not in ranked after? Apparently someone figured out a glitch where you can be under the map the whole time as Venture, and then you couldn't actually cap the point. Okay, they fixed it? Okay. They fixed that for Venture. Here we go. So far, this is okay. I like setting up on the high ground, but I'm gonna let this one go because I think this is actually fine. It was right next to me, a dream hack. That was like that. It was good. It was good. I was no delays. Left on time. I basically napped the whole flight. And yeah, got back at a reasonable time. It was good. Considering how the travel day was to begin with, where I had like, for anybody who didn't know, like I had 2 flight cancellations and then like a 7-hour delay. And then I finally got to Dallas at 5 a.m. on Saturday for a dream hack. So we're just watching here. So far, you're doing fine. I still would have liked to see you start on the high ground, kind of where your Cassidy was. But at the same time, you kind of have to anchor the cart now, so I get this. You notice something though, by the way? And I don't know if you're noticing this, and it's working, but like, What is something, and I'll give chat a second to respond to this. What did you notice about that, chat? Like, what did you notice about that whole Sigma play? You said you call him the backpedal master? First of all, what do you mean? You can't say he's a noob. What do you even mean by that? Second of all, yes, they were backpedaling too much. So what ended up happening there, and this is what I was talking about, they're almost playing it too safe, right? Like if you've given up that much space for your team, at a certain point, this will not work, right? And this is why I want to get in the mindset of letting you know that, one, you're making the correct, you're applying good concepts. Now it's fine-tuning those concepts. So you're understanding you need good cover, and you need to do that. But you also need to have a little bit of space control. Now, I've always talked about how Sigma is a tank that zones out by damage, right? That zones out by damage. And that's true. But at a certain point, you have to become a statue, right? And that statue, usually the limitation of that is like here, right? Now, granted, don't get me wrong. Backing up here worked out. So, like, it's all hindsight. But I just want to get you in the mindset of not always backing up to the point where they just, like, isolate you out. Eventually, you need to kind of just, like, be that statue. And, like, around here is where you would do that. And then you would kind of, like, rotate this way. It's also why it's important to play the high ground like this, because, like, your rotations become a lot easier. So, that's kind of where, like, you need to... Your damage is your zoning, right? And we'll start to get a little bit more advanced in this, because I feel like we have a lot of beginner tips, and I think a lot of players are doing an excellent job of applying a lot of the knowledge now, and it's great to see. Now it's about helping them fine-tune that knowledge. And this has been actually a good VOD for that, because you're applying a lot of the stuff that we've mentioned. Now we're going to help you fine-tune it to become a much better player, right? So just, like, remember, there's certain points where you're going to zone them out, and then eventually you're going to have to statue it, and this is one of those locations where you would. And if they win that, it is what it is, but, like, if you haven't noticed, your whole team's in front of you because of how much you disengage that. All right. Did you want Diva counter dive in the dive? Yeah, you just give up all the space in the world. Granted, it's easier said than done, and if you feel like as a tank right now, especially since Season 9, that you struggle to maintain that space as a tank, that's not like an uncommon situation either. You know what I'm saying? It's not necessarily uncommon either. It can be difficult, but you need to at least try sometimes. This is fine. I like you going up for early poke damage. This is good. This is good. Ult the Winston. Ult the Winston. Ult the Winston. Ult the Winston. Okay, yep, Rock. Never mind. You're good. If you ulted the Winston there, I would have been okay with it. Oh, there's a Lucio right there. I don't even know if you see him. Okay, now I've heard him. See if you can get them there. Nice. There you go. Yep, Rock. Why did Lucio stagger himself? I think the Lucio honestly wanted to cast a point late, and then, like, they kind of got impatient, and I think that's what happened. That, or they were just all over the place doing whatever they wanted. Fooly, thanks for the 49 months of the tier 1. Thank you, appreciate it. Thanks. I would ult now. I don't want to see you waiting your ultimate here. Yeah.
Only 1 month less than 50. Thanks for being here, emongg.
I think you're a bit too late on this.
Emongg hype has yours 15 bongo emongg lurk emongg eats as yours 15 love emongg.
Thank you, Fooly. I want you to see something here. Okay, do you see how close of a fight that was? And this is why I really wanted to see you not save your ultimate, right? You managed to get this down to a 1v3 and almost get all of them. Imagine if you lead off with an ultimate right there, rather than just wait forever. Because not only is your ultimate good for getting in a limb, it also, like, and this is actually a good way to describe it. Sometimes, believe it or not, kind of like with Torb, you can actually use Sigma Ultimate as a support ultimate. And you go, what do you mean a support ultimate? You can just get rid of the pressure on your team by lifting them up in the air to give your teammates the opportunity to survive. So when you sit here and don't do anything, right, and you just wait and wait and wait, and then you finally use your ultimate, imagine what it would have been like if you used this ultimate and all your teammates survived. Now you have a team wipe and the possibility of just winning this game. So a lot of what you're running into, at least from what I'm understanding and seeing, is you just play it way too safe. Like I said, you're applying a lot of the knowledge of, like, you know, do this, do that. Now it's about fine-tuning it, and I think that's really what's going to be make or break for you. So good job understanding some of the concepts. Now let's go and apply those concepts, but also allow you to be a playmaker. Because to climb, you're eventually going to have to become a playmaker also on top of that. Basically, ult earlier there. They give it as a defensive ultimate for your teammates that can turn into an aggressive ultimate. Anyway, let's continue on. Now you're on Hog, which, I mean, I get it. Hog against their comp. They don't have an Ana. You know, they have a Venture who you can kind of like maybe hook them out of it. Go for the Widow you just saw, by the way. That Widow's gonna cause... That Widow is definitely gonna be worth going for. Patience with the hooks. We've talked about that in a previous video. Calf, thanks for the 24 months. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, for anybody, the person asking, like, we don't do any of the Overwatch. We don't do Overwatch 1 videos for like play of the games or like reviews. That's for Overwatch 2. All right, here we go. Hey, you're having fun. Hey, you're dead. Yeah, honestly, I gotta give credit to that Winston. Honestly, you remember how I talked about playmaking? That Winston made a play. If I told you that I was gonna, would I ever tell you as Winston to go and ult the hog? No, probably not. But did that Winston be willing to make a play? Yeah, and they did, and it worked. Why didn't he use the whole hog ultimate? Well, because he's at 90%. So unless there's like 10% of ult charge waiting around that I don't know of, I don't know how he would have been able to do that. Considering he still doesn't have his ultimate. All right, they're on Orisa now. Don't be afraid to swap. Patience with hook. Yeah, using it here is fine because this. You know why I like them using it? It means they won't save it forever and probably switch. Remember, Roadhogs, you can hook during your ultimate. Nice hook. You can hook during your ultimate. I remind people on that because even myself, because I don't play a ton of hog in Overwatch 2, that was never a thing in Overwatch 1, so a lot of players forget that. And heal. There's a lot you can do during your ultimate. Okay, on Zarya now. Now, my guess is, and this is, I see it so much. There's like this flow chart of, oh, they have this tank, I must go this tank. But I'm gonna be honest with you. If you're trying to retake, the last thing I want to do is go Zarya there. And this is where I really want to get players in the mindset of, yes, there's heroes that are strong against a certain tank, but it does not mean that's going to be the tank you want to go. Because a lot of the time, you really need to focus on the team aspect of it rather than the 1v1 aspect of it, right? Now, let's say you're on second point King's Row and you're running back for the first team fight. Zarya is great there, right? You know, you're going to do pretty good against the D.Va. The D.Va loses a little bit of value on King's Row. Granted, if it was Gibraltar, it'd be the opposite. All of that. But if you're trying to retake on third point where you don't have as much space to go out there, you need to think about more survivability rather than, oh, I'm going to go Zarya because they have an Orisa. You see the problem there? Once again, it kind of rotates back to what we've talked about where a lot of players get so caught up on like this I need to counter somebody else type of strategy that in reality, it's not the way that you want to do it. It's very situational on how you're going to play that. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but you need to recognize that spot. When you have to retake in there, Zarya is not a good retake hero. Good retake heroes could be anything. You could go, it could be other tanks like Rein, D.Va, Wrecking Ball. I mean, heck, you could even go Winston if you want to bubble, even though I wouldn't recommend Winston against that comp. But, like, there's just more value to be had there on those retakes. What does OTP mean? It means, like, one trick, basically. So, people used to call it, like, what? One trick pony? I think is what it was. Okay, you're on Zarya against Rein. We've talked about this already. I feel like if you're playing Zarya against Rein, you need to be careful. Okay, well, okay, wonderful. All right, so I would imagine we'd see a pretty quick swap here. Recommendation would be Ramatra. Yeah, I like Ramatra here, or Rein if you want to play Rein. Okay, perfect. I don't mind Ramatra here. Good swap. This means the Rein loses value. You're not full on countering the Rein, but you get good value against their team. I am fine with this pick. Yep, there you go. Much better. Remember, Vortex is important. Vortex is important. Players, start using your Vortex more. I know I used to meme Vortex at the beginning of Ramatra's release, but believe it or not, I actually believe that Vortex is really good. Some would argue go high ground, some wouldn't. I'm going to be 50-50 on this one. I think in overtime, it's okay to play card. Now, would I take space there if I have confirmation from my teammates? And you go, what do you mean? Get confirmation in overtime about where you want to go before you go there. Now, let me explain. How many times have you played a rank game where you go say you're going to play high ground, or you even let your team know you're like, hello, I am going to go play high ground. I want everybody to know this. I will be going to play high ground, okay? And then you say that, and then you go up to the high ground, and then the game ends, and then you go, what happened? You hit P, and you realize nobody was in voice chat. So what I'm saying here, make sure that you get confirmation from your teammates that you're going to retake. Otherwise, that's how you end up losing the game. Chat knows the amount of times that I have made that mistake where I go, okay, I'm going to retake. I'm going to go high ground. Someone say cart. Then I go do it. And then somebody gets off cart without any confirmation. It's too damn hot. All right? Anyway. Vortex. Don't forget about Vortex. Even a simple Vortex like on the cart. So this is silver. I'm overestimating the team's coordination. I'm just saying get confirmation because there's no coordination to be had at that point, in the sense that if like you don't get confirmation, you stay cart. You know what I'm saying? So like no, I'm saying unless you get confirmation, stay cart. So I'm expecting you not to have that type of teamwork there. That's the whole point, by the way. And this is what I mean by Vortex. Like you could have Vortex that way sooner, and that Vortex would have prevented the Venture from doing some of the play they're already doing right now. So. This could be a good help. Just go into defensive mode very soon while you have your armor. Good job. Because you don't need to over-push this yet, right? Shield. I want you to shield this. Think about your teammates. I'm going to explain something in 1 second. I think you're going to win this team fight still, but like look at like how much you're not using your Vortex prior to that when you want to be able to make a good play with your Vortex. And then on top of that, or your Nemesis form. On top of that, you want to use your shield so that your teammates get a little bit more value. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll throw my shield out, so that way I can, less chance to get slapped, less chance my teammates take damage. Yeah, exactly. Not min-maxed as much as they could. Be careful there on the cart, because you could have easily gone off there. Nice Vortex. By the way, that right there shows you like the value of Vortex. You were able to get a free pick on Lucio just because of a well-placed Vortex. I know it's like, I've been bringing it up quite a bit, but I really would like to see you be a little bit more like proactive with that. I mean, that's something you hear me say all the time. Be proactive, be proactive, be proactive. So. Well, yeah, I mean, you put your Vortex where you think they're going to go, right? Or you, like, think where they're going to leave. So if I think the Ana, like, for example, is going to want to back up there, I'm going to throw my Vortex behind the Ana, or, like, kind of, like, a little bit behind them, but, like, doing damage to them at the same time. Because that means they only have one way to go. Either back up really slowly and I follow up with them, or they run into my team. So you use Vortex as almost like a zone them out of an area tool more than anything else. And that's what I like about Vortex. And it's a lot better than I thought it was, to basically be honest, so. If you get confirmation, you can get a little bit more aggressive. Yeah, you went for your Vortex. Remember, Defense Matrix can eat Vortex. Well, I mean, here's the... I'll give you kind of like, you're mentioning this is a good push other than the 5 card stack, but I get it, as you say. Well, let me kind of give you also a concept here of why it plays differently per ranked, and it's why, like, I've gotten better at this as I've done more and more of these type of, like, spectating videos. And it's that every rank is a little bit different, right? So what is something that you always kind of, what is one of my bingo card things that I have? Like, and chat knows what I'm talking about. If I was going to run a bingo card right now, what is something that would be checked off? And this is why I'm curious, because I don't know if chat's noticed this yet. Okay, so far people haven't guessed it yet. Okay, so all on the point is 1. Perfect. But somebody finally guessed it. Everybody staggers to the point. So a lot of the time, believe it or not, in like silver, the 5 stack on cart's the play. Because so many players, once it hits overtime, decide they're going to run back to cart over and over again, rather than just regroup for a good team fight. So a lot of the time, it becomes really advantageous to stack the cart. Because in silver, a lot of players don't like want to regroup. They want to keep running back to the cart. And overtime not only increases your spawn, but it also makes players feel like they have to run to the cart. And in doing so, you just keep winning team fights because you're never taking a 5v5, right? It's funny because when it's not overtime, players will always be like, oh, we need to regroup. Oh, what are you doing? But then when it comes to overtime, everybody forgets about that and goes in one by one. So in silver, sometimes the stack in 5 on cart's great. Now, obviously, like in top 500, like a lot of the time you're going to say, okay, you know, this hero stay cart, everybody else go take map control. But that's also why, like, when I'm doing these spectating videos, I need to take an account into the rank, because while we would do that in top 500, there's no way in heck you're going to be able to do that in, like, a silver game unless you're 5-stacked and really working on teamwork, right? You get what I'm saying? So sometimes players will be like, oh, you got to tell them to do this, got to tell them to do that. I'm like, yes, but, like, I'm not going to, like, have players do, like, these advanced, like, strategies when you don't even have to worry about doing those advanced strategies till you climb higher in ranks. Is it good to get in the habit of that? Yes, but, like, you can 5-stack card all you want in silver if the other players are going to run at you one by one, right? And so, I mean, exactly forgiven, and that's why, like, each rank has to do it differently. But yeah, that's why I'm saying, like, I have to always take that into account, because I can't expect you to apply that same top 500 knowledge nor the mechanics and be mad that you're not doing, like, well, in top 500 you do, like, listen, when you get the top 500, that's when you apply that type of knowledge. Anyway, continue on. Sorry, a little bit of, like, a side note there. Yeah, you're right, you did. Yeah, that was fun. That was fun. Did you see what I mean? Their team has ran to the cart one by one. Like look at what they're doing. Now, there's going to be a chance where they're going to have a little bit of an... actually, no, they don't even have ults. You're going to be fine. I think the only way you lose this is if you run off the cart. Because you can go in the Nemesis... You can... not Nemesis form, but you can go into your ult. Like, you can just ult point in a second. Yeah, see what I mean? They all are... They just, like, feel like they have to run to the point. Good ult. By the way, if you want to guarantee good value here, jump on top of the cart. Fine, you're good. You took like 3 damage. That way, like, no one can LOS your play. Perfect. Good play. By the way, at what point did their team at all just regroup on cart? Not once. So why would they even need to go for map control if the team isn't even, if the team is just running at you in a straight line of cart? Great play, great patience. See what I'm saying? At no point did they ever stop and regroup. At no point were they like, okay, we're gonna do this. They just ran at you one by one, over and over and over again, which is why I'm okay with that being the play style here. Now you're on Zarya. Looks like you picked your hero a little bit late, but it's all good.
They can't hurt me. Frustrated,
okay. Okay with this. Yeah, right clicks now. This is where I want to get into right click mode. Remember? And we'll see how you do with that, but, like, this is where you want to play more of that mid-range, right? Because if you get close to a Mauga as Zarya, a lot of the time you might over-bubble, and then they just shred you in, like, 2 seconds, right? If I'm playing Mauga against Zarya and I watch them use 2 bubbles in front of me, so, like, I'm okay with you giving up a little space here, but I also want you to not end up in a hallway by yourself and give them free picks. Or, like, give them the map control, because you do need to watch that. Also, like, let me ask you a question. You see your Sojourn slide in the way while being Ash Dynamited, and you're not bubbling that. Actually, not Ash Dynamited. Yeah. They were on fire from the Mauga, excuse me. Why not bubble them on their way out there? You're gonna have another bubble, another rotation. Things like that can also take into account. Now, this is where I kind of gave you, like, that, like, goal line of where you're gonna not push back too much. This is it. Why is this the spot? You have good positioning. If they go past you, they overextend. The only way you lose this or give them too much opportunity is if you lose contain of this, which in silver, I think it's less likely to lose high ground contain up here than it would be, once again, in the top 500 game. So, you know, just trust that, like, this will work. Play this corner, and that's where you want to go. If you overextend, you'll fall over. If you back up, your teammates will fall over. So. Nice. Good job here. Oh, wait. The way that you reacted there and fell back is great. Don't grab. Okay, I'm going to explain why you don't grab that. Once you hear the Junkrat voice line, give it a second. Let that tire do work before you do anything else. And what I mean by that is it's such an important ultimate that, like, let's say that they go in and they, like, just miss the tire, then you can grab. But you don't need to grab that, excuse me. You don't need to grab that. They probably wanted to combo it. I honestly, maybe it's just me, but, like, if you're trying to combo grab tire, unless it's like a overtime team fight, good job pushing the back line a little bit there, because you did have the numbers, which is where you can overextend. I just think that it's very situational to where you would really want to grab tire combo. I think you do that when you're gonna win, right? So, like, I think there's still another team fight here. I mean, maybe they don't get on the point, but, like, I think you wait on that. To the left and bubble. Position it. Look at your Junkrat's at. Yeah, I'm going to go on a limb and say they win this team fight. What do you think, chat? Yeah, I think they won that. I imagine you'll win this game just because of, like, how much time. Now, what's the difference so far, chat? By the way, let's pause for a second. What's the difference so far? Your team has taken a regroup. Your Moira isn't running to the point 1 by 1. You're not all running in there. You're not all trying to go make plays. And this is the difference maker, right? As I say that, Sojourn's getting a little bit aggro, but I'll give you the 5. You know? Dude, that tire took forever. Nice tire. But yeah, do you see the difference there, though? Your team took, like, the 5v5. Your team took the 5v5, and it worked well. So, for you, I will say this. I think you're going to climb. But I do think that what I want you to start doing is apply the knowledge that you've been learning, because you did reference that, like, taking less poke damage, doing all this, and just start to fine-tune it now. Where can you take more damage? And I kind of point out, like, be a little bit more playmaking, because, once again, the less that you playmake, the more reliant you are on your teammates, right? And the only way to know if a playmaking play is good or bad is by recognizing it by going to make plays, right? What's the easiest way to know if a play is a good play or a bad play? At least try to make those plays. And I think for you, it seems like you're really good at absorbing the knowledge of stuff. Now it's about applying that correctly and fine-tuning it. I think if you do that, you'll be fine. I also want to see a bit more right clicks on Zarya. And I want to see you be a little bit more proactive when you can be. You can be smart with it, but definitely be more proactive and more playmaking will definitely lead to more stuff. Keep in mind, you are a tank. Tanks are struggling a little bit, so it may not be as consistent as other roles when it comes to what that playmaking will actually do, right? I think right now with tanking, sometimes the playmaking, you do everything correct on tank, and then you're just still waiting on your teammates to make that play. That's not uncommon for tank right now. Tank is probably the least of the playmaking roles as of right now. Granted, there could be a bit of bias there because I'm a tank player, so of course I'm going to do that. But yeah, I think if you do that, you'll be fine. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button. Subscribe to all 3 YouTubes if you haven't. If you want to submit your own spectating, look in the description below. You'll see my Discord right there. Also, leave a comment. All of it helps. We also record these live on stream. You can see the Twitch chat right below the webcam. Stop by if you haven't. And with that being said, I hope you all have an amazing day/night.